Good morning, Floss Tube friends. This is Lisa of Lady Huzzah Presents on Floss Tube, Lady Huzzah on Instagram. It is Saturday, December 23rd already. I can hardly believe that we are at Christmas already. But I wanted to come to you this morning to share a little bit of my Christmas with you. It's been a little bit. Things have been so busy, as I'm sure it has been with everyone, but I wanted to come to you and share some of my Christmas with all of you. This is only my first year in the Floss Tube community, and it has been wonderful. And so I want to take this as a time to share my celebrations with you and to let you know how thrilled I am of the welcome that I have received to the Floss Tube community. So anyway, a little bit of life update. The last time I came to you was right before Thanksgiving. And at that time, I think the next day, I don't know why I film like the day before I do things, but I just do. The last time I came to you, we were getting ready to go on a cruise at Thanksgiving with our son. Our son, as I've mentioned before, lives in New York, and he met us in Baltimore, and we sailed on a Norwegian cruise to Bermuda. It was a wonderful way to celebrate the holiday. Did not have to worry about all of the cooking and the preparation and the cleaning of my house and everything else. But although, whenever I do go away, I always leave a clean house to come home to and clean sheets. So I still feel like I'm at a hotel. But anyway, we had a wonderful time on our cruise. We went snorkeling on a Bermuda Triangle shipwreck, which was super fun, complete with rum swizzles after our snorkel. We also went on a bike and hike trip around Bermuda, which was a great little sampling of the island, although there's never really enough time to really jump in and see the island the way you'd like to. But the activities on the cruise ship were great. The shows were fantastic, and we really had some quality time with our son. We did miss our daughter being there, but she was unable to join us from Germany this year. So anyway, then we arrived home on the Monday after Thanksgiving. Then the following Friday, I had 4 friends coming to stay at my house for the weekend to celebrate the Jingle Ball and also Illumination in Williamsburg. So it was a real hustle to get ready, but they were awesome. They all, signed up for meals that they would bring, and it really made what could have been very difficult very easy. So we had a wonderful weekend. It was my friends Vicky, Deb, Janelle, and Stacy. Vicky, Deb, and Janelle are from Pennsylvania, and Stacy's my friend that lives in Richmond, in the Richmond, Virginia area. And look what you've probably noticed my Huzzah shirt. Stacy gave me this Huzzah shirt for Christmas, but check out what the other girls, what they all gifted me with when they saw it in Williamsburg. I have never seen these in Williamsburg in the gift shops. I often don't go into the gift shops anymore since I've lived here for 10 years or almost 10 years. And I was so thrilled to receive my Huzzah cup and then my Huzzah shirt from Stacy for Christmas. So thank you, ladies. Whenever I use this, which is pretty much every day, I think of our fun weekend that we had when you all visited. Thank you so much. So I've got my morning coffee in here. It's kind of early that I'm recording, but I wanted to visit you early in the day before everything else got crazy with holiday preparation, etc. So the other thing that happened was the opening of the new shop in Williamsburg, which is called Liberty Hill Needleworks, owned by Susan MacKenzie. And so that also opened that same weekend that everyone visited me. Well, we certainly shopped and helped Susan get off to a great start with her shop. The shop is amazing. It is chock full of threads. She carries several thread lines, tons of linen, lots of charts. She's happy to order things for you and to mail order as well. It was just a lovely time to see Susan's celebration as she had the grand opening of her shop. So if you're ever in Williamsburg, check out Liberty Hill Needleworks. And I will have information in my show notes about that. Plus, I also did a small little floss tube before Thanksgiving talking about the shop. So anyway, that's some of the life updates as we all prepare for Christmas. One thing that's kind of a difficult topic that I think should probably be addressed. I totally understand that Christmas is not always the happy holiday for everyone, as movies, TV, stores would like it to be for us. On a personal note, the sadness has affected my family as well. So sometimes it's hard to project that happy, joyful, can't wait for Christmas kind of feel. Unfortunately, 2 years ago on the 21st of December, we lost my sweet mom. First day of winter 2 years ago. And then again on the 24th, on Christmas Eve, it'll be 10 years this year, we've lost my dad. So I totally understand for some of you if Christmas is a tough time. And it's something I struggle with now. I was always such a Christmas person, loved Christmas, couldn't wait for Christmas, pretty much prepared for Christmas all year. But when tragedy and sadness hits your family, sometimes it changes it. And each year has been a little bit better. Sometimes more of a struggle than other times. But you just move on. And I know that my mom and my dad was a real Christmas person. I know they would want us to go on and celebrate the holiday with joy and happiness and having fun. So I try to keep that in mind, know that I have my 2 Christmas angels looking after me. And, but just be gentle with yourself is what I'm trying to say, that if Christmas is a time that you struggle with, that's okay. That's okay. Celebrate it the way you're able to, celebrate it the way that works for you, and give yourself the grace not to go all in if it's just something that you can't do. I understand just the other day we found out that a dear friend of ours also passed on the 21st of December, just 2 days ago. And I know this is a struggle for his family right now. And I just wish them peace and strength at this time that they're going through, because it is difficult. And as the media wants us to be all happy and excited, sometimes when you're sad, all of that hype makes it even worse. So I get it. It's something I've worked through over the years, the last couple of years. And I am happy this year for the most part. I struggled the other day thinking about my mother, but you know what? That's okay. It just means, you grieve because you've loved someone. And what a horrible world this would be if we never love anybody. So anyway, that being said, I am feeling festive and happy today. And I have some things that I would love to share with you. I hope that wasn't a Debbie Downer. That was not my intention. I'm just realizing that Christmas is not the same for everyone, and that's okay. So anyway, I do have a lot of things I'd like to share with you today. At first, I thought this would be just a quick video, but I'm not really so sure. Some people have said my videos run too long, but hey, stitchers have to talk stitching. And one thing nice about Floss Tube is that you can stop the video and come back for more visit later. So anyway, stitchers have to talk stitching. So here we go. Just a little bit of old business. I still have 2 of my gifts from my Mary Cox giveaway, and I've offered that on 2 videos to the recipients. So I am now choosing 2 other people to have these gifts. The first is the Friend So Dear pin keep, and if Vicky Reed 4833 is watching, please email me, Vicky, and I will get this sent out to you. It's a darling little kit to make a pin keep, and it was a gift from Mary Cox. The other one is the vintage pin keep, and I am offering this to Dawn Popovich, 1837. Dawn, this is a lovely, lovely vintage pin keep that was an advertising pin keep for the Prudential that Mary so graciously donated when I did my merry-go-round floss tube in the summertime. So anyway, ladies, if these are you, if these names, if you're seeing your name, please email me and I will get these gifts out to you. Okay, so the other thing I need to wrap up is the winners of my floss tube. This beaded lanyard. I use it to put my scissors on sometimes when I travel. This beautiful lanyard. The winner is Susan Parker, 5904. So Susan, email me and I will send you this lanyard. The other one was the Christmas sewing set, and this goes to Denise Rouse Goddard, 5625. So again, Denise, if you've heard your name called, please email me and I will get this out to you too. I will have more giveaways in the new year. Okay, so let me grab this. I just wanted to update everyone on my temperature tree that I've been working on all year. I can't believe it is almost filled in. Here we are at the end of December, and when I started in January, it seemed like it would take forever. So here's my temperature tree. This is by Stitchin' Mommy on Etsy, and there's 12 branches. Each branch corresponded to a month of the year. And then each leaf on the branch corresponds to the high temperature in my town for that day of the year. So it started at the bottom here, wrapped around each branch, went up through the year. And so now I'm almost finished. I can't wait to see how this all fills out. This has been such a fun project. And like I said, when I started last January 1st, it just seemed like it would be forever until it was filled in. And just like that, poof, the year is gone. So it was really fun. Check it out. There's a 4-degree temperature difference in every color for the leaves. And they have, on the chart, they have a variable temperature. They have a cold weather temperature and then a hot weather temperature color grid so everybody will have some variation with their tree. Okay, the other projects I've been working on, I have been doing a fair amount of stitching, but a lot of it has been for Christmas gifts, Christmas gifts and different exchanges, so I can't really show those, but I will show you a few little things that I have been working on. You've seen this many times on my floss tubes. And this is, oh boy, my working copy is kind of trashed. Dasher and Dancer from Hobby House Designs. And I have been giving her a lot of love lately. Oopsies, upside down. We are getting there. I am stitching Dasher and Dancer on 36 count Dolly Madison needle and flax linen, and using bandana, Colorworks bandana. Let's see here. Hold on, hold tight. Classic Colorworks bandana, and I bought several, 2, 4, 6, 8. I probably have 10 skeins of floss here. I don't think it will take that much, but I don't know about you. I tend to get a lot of what I call walking around thread, especially if it's a long-term project. It seems like I end up with a blob of it that I find, 2 hours after I've been stitching, I find it stuck to my shirt or on my pants or on the floor. And so I always have to buy extra, especially if I think there'll be a dye lot issue. The other thing I've been working on is this freebie chart from Teresa Kogut, Old St. Nick, and I'm stitching Old St. Nick on needle and flax, 36 count Steinbeck. There's great colors in this. I don't really have a very big start, but there it is. Sorry for the wrinkles. I don't have time to bake my cookies, let alone iron linen at this point in time. Okay, so that's that, and there's some great colors. It's nice, vintagey Christmas colors, DMCs, and some over-dyed cottons. But this is something that I really hope to finish up over the holiday. And much to my surprise, I received some stitchy kindness in the mail from my friend Jen, and she sent me this little thread mat. So, well, now I can put the threads back on it to use for over the holiday. And here I thought this was great to put with my Old St. Nick while I'm stitching him. So thank you very much, Jen, my friend Jen Kieran. She was so sweet to send this to me, and I thought it was my Christmas gift, and it was just a pre-Christmas gift. She sent me something else that is tucked safely under the tree. Okay, so some other stitchy kindness that I have received. When my friend Stacy came for the Jingle Ball and Williamsburg Illumination Weekend, she stitched me this necklace. I've got to show up close. This is so sweet and so tiny. The whole necklace is probably about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And she stitched one of the snowmen from the Brenda Gervais With Thy Needle and Thread snowball leaflet. Like it's a little book. I was so thrilled that she made this for me. I've worn it many times over the holiday so far, and every time I wear it, someone gives me a compliment. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much, Stacy. The other thing was, the other day I visited with Stacy and we celebrated our Christmas and also Stacy's birthday. So in addition to my Huzzah shirt, she also stitched me this tiny, tiny little stocking. This is a bright needle design, and she stitched it over one, and it is just the most precious little stocking. So this will go back up on my tree after we're finished here. Another piece of stitchy kindness I received, which was a total shock. I received a lovely card in the mail from Deb Butler. Deb was a recipient of one of my giveaways, and she was so sweet to send me a gift then. She was supposed to be the one being gifted, but she sent me these lovely holiday scissors. So what a pleasant, pleasant surprise. I loved it. I loved it. When there was this package in the mail the other day, she also sent a lovely card. The other day there was this package in the mail, and I said to my husband, "Who's this from?" He's like, "Oh, it's probably something you bought." And I said, "No." He's like, "Oh, probably something from one of your stitching exchanges." I'm like, "No." And I opened it up, and I was so surprised to receive this lovely gift from Deb. Thank you very much, and may you have a very happy holiday. The other piece of stitchy kindness was actually from the Western Reserve Sampler Guild. That's a guild I belong to, and they did a holiday exchange, which was really fun. They did it on Zoom. It was kind of crazy because I had to Zoom from the car. We were on the way to Pennsylvania to visit my husband's sister and family, but I was able to get Zoom from the car, and in my exchange, I received this lovely sampler. It's EM Coats, and it was done by Birgit of the Wishing Thorn. Let me see if there's some glare on. There we go. And one of the guild members, Carol Gilliland, stitched and framed this for me. And I was so thrilled to receive it, and I can't wait to get it up on my sampler wall. So thank you very much. Stitching friends are the best, and it's really been quite appreciated. The other thing I wanted to do a little update on, not go full-blown into it, but on my last Floss Tube, I talked a lot about my obsession with Advent calendars. Okay, so one of the Advent calendars was a candle Advent calendar from Olde. Well, that was really quite a quality Advent calendar. Every day for 25 days, there was a little votive candle. This one is amber and winter fig. This just smells of Christmas. This is beautiful. Here's one called Snowdrops. And this one was winter apples. They all smell great, and they're in a really quality votive holder. They burn beautifully, they smell great, and this was my first time doing one of these Advent calendars from Aldi, and it was great. I can't wait to see what they offer next year. But now I have all of these great containers, so I need to figure out what to do with them. They're really too nice just to toss. So if any of you have any ideas of what I can do with the containers, the little votive cups, please let me know. I mean, I know things like an Ort dish is kind of obvious, but if you have any other ideas of how to use these, please put it in the comments. I would love to know. Love to know how to use these great little containers. The other, one of the other Advent calendars I had was a chocolate one. Well, that's gone almost. 3 more days left on that. I haven't had my morning chocolate yet. The other one was an Advent calendar that I did with my friend Sylvia, Running with Needles and Scissors. So I'll just give you a sampling of some of the great little gifts that she had in my Advent calendar. One day she had a beautiful cluster of ribbons. These are really high quality ribbons that she had in there. Another day I received some tags, the tags that Kathy Barrett does for the back of your stitching, that just documents your stitching. Another day she had a little sewing case. This is so cute. I can't wait to put this into use and fill it up. I think I'll put this right over here so I can put that to use right after we're finished. The other was a hands-on design House on a Hill chart. These are really fun. These blocks are fun to put together. They come with a piece of wool to use on the top. And these are super fun to do. So that's just a sampling of the things that Sylvia had in my Advent. It's a fun thing to do with a friend if you want to make your own Advent calendar with them. What we do is we thrift shop things. We shop from our stash. We make things. We just find little things. We love to go to Goodwill. You know, we love to go to little vintage shops and antique shops. But it's really a great little thing to do for each other. And we're already started on next year. So it doesn't come as a huge have to do kind of thing. We just collect things for each other all year for our Advent. And it's just fun. It's a no pressure thing. We just collect things that we know the other will love. Okay, so the other Advent I had was the 12 Days of Christmas from Colorado Cross Stitcher. I don't want to show that. How I did that was that I opened one every other day because there was 12. I opened one every other day. And I don't want to show those things because I know some people are just saving theirs to open all at once on Christmas. So I don't want to be the spoiler on that. But it was, I will order that one again next year. It was great. I really enjoyed the Colorado cross stitcher 12 Days of Christmas. So I think there was one more. Oh, the other one was this. This was, I still have 2 to open. This was one that was wool felting from the Crafty Kit, and I bought this. This was actually an advent from 2022, and I bought it late last year, so saved it for this year. This I bought at Hobby House in Pittsford, New York, and this was really fun. Every day you got supplies to make a felted wool item. So there's extensive directions in here. Let's see. Oh, of how to create your felted wool items. Honestly, I did not like felt every day. Oh my gosh, I've been too busy for that. But come January, I plan on sitting down with this book and all of my supplies and make my little felted things. They are so cute. There's a, and they gave you some of the embellishments for it. There's a toadstool. There's like a little cluster of carolers. There's an igloo. Look at these carolers. They are so adorable. So they give you all the things to make them. There's one other here. Look at this. Look at this cute polar. I keep dropping. There's like little leaflets in here. Look at this little polar bear. So anyway, that's the other one. I just really enjoyed the Advent. Like I said, I've always been a Christmas person. Having my little Advent calendars to go to also helps me with some of the blues that I experience around Christmas now. So it's just been fun, and it's something that works for me to get me into the spirit and is truly enjoyable. So anyway, keep an eye out for next year for yourselves, and maybe you want to treat yourself to a little bit of Advent fun as well. Okay, so let's see here. Haul. I had only one. Well, I did pick up some things at the new cross-stitch shop, but some of that is in use already that I can't really talk about. But I did receive another piece of haul in the mail, and this is from Country Sampler. This is their Christmas kit called Winter Moon from Paulette Stewart, Plum Street Samplers. And I just love this piece this year. To me, it looks like Colonial Williamsburg, and I can't wait to start stitching on this. I bought my kit on 36 count, and well, there's gonna be a little bit of crinkling here, but like I said, I love the crinkling. It's anticipation. Look at all these beautiful colors. And this is stitched on 36 count salt brush. And that's a fox and rabbit linen. So anyway, so fun. Can't wait to get started on this. I left it in the package and resisted starting until I was able to visit with all of you and show you. So that'll be coming up. So that's my haul, very limited haul right now because I've been buying for everybody else and stitching all the things that I have going for everyone else. The other thing is 2 things I'm planning for, well, 3 things I'm planning for in January. I am doing what's called the Blessing Sampler in January, and that is, it's on Facebook. If you look up 2024 Blessing Project, supposedly years ago, girls were encouraged to start a sampler January 1st and then finish it by the 31st of January. And it was supposed to bring blessings to them for the year and the satisfaction of having finished a project already for the year. So anyway, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but hey, it's always a good excuse to have a new start and be able to stitch. So the guidelines is that it has to be at least 100 stitches in one direction and something that you think would be achievable for you in January. There's no stress if you don't get it finished. But what I'm stitching is Be Not a Dunce from Mama Loves You GB. And, oh, I forget what linen I chose. I forget what linen this was. But it's only one color, and I'm using wrought iron from Gentle Arts. That's what I'm using to stitch my blessing sampler. And if you look up 2024 Blessings Project on Facebook, it'll have all the information. It's not too late to join, and it's just something fun to do as a community of stitchers. You're supposed to post your the picture of your chart, your linen, and the threads on January 1st, and start on it, and then show progress throughout the month, and then post a picture when you finish. It's just a community kind of spirit thing. It's one of those stitch-alongs that's really no pressure, no hassle. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the Blessing Project. The other thing I'm planning on doing in January, which I've never done before, and I will do it if I can get my act together, is the Whip Go. I don't really know much about it. I've watched the video. If any of you have done Whip Go and can give me some little tips on creating your board, I still haven't done it. I just have to search through my bags and bags and bags of whips and somehow make up my board. But if any of you can give me tips on that, I would truly appreciate it. So it's just something fun to do for this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another temperature kind of stitch this year. There's a Quaker motif one that I'm thinking of doing, but I think I might just do something, just other different things this year. There's always next year for that. One other thing that's not on a stitching note per se, but it's on a personal level. I want to try this. I am not a journaler. I'm not really a writer. I mean, I have no trouble writing, but it's not something that I take the time to do, to sit down and compose my thoughts. When I do, I think I can do it pretty well, but it's just not something, I've never been like a Dear Diary kind of person. But anyway, this past summer when I was out in Spring Green for Country Sampler, one of the shops had this book. It's called One Line a Day, and this is for 5 years. So all you have to do, it gives you a 5-year entry for January 1st, and there's 5 sections, so you can have 5 years of writings on one page. And all you have to do is this: fill one little block there with something for journaling for the day. It has a nice little ribbon to mark your days. It's a very quality book. I thought this was really nice, kind of like the book plate in the front. So anyway, I've decided to try this in January, to just motivate myself, to just write down something of gratitude for the day, something good that happened to me that day, you know, a funny quip, a funny thought, whatever. It might not always even be something great for that day, but just to write down one day, one little cluster of words a day, you know, to try this. So anyway, also when I was out at Country Sampler, one of my friends I traveled with bought the same book, and I forget who did it, but whoever bought it, if you could reach out to me and maybe we can encourage each other to do our simple little journaling for the day, for the year. All right, I'm getting all tongue-tied here. Moving on to really what I wanted to show you today is I wanted to share with you some of my holiday decorations that I have stitched and collected over the years. I have framed pieces, and I have little stand-ups and little bowl fillers, different things that I have stitched over the years that I wanted to share with you. I will tell you, some of them have been done so long ago that I no longer remember who the designer was, what it was stitched on, but who knows, maybe you have some of these things in your stash and you may want to revisit them at some point and stitch them for yourself. So, and you will definitely see a progression in the quality of what was available way back when as to what the bounty of things we have available to us as stitchers now. So anyway, let me just take a little sip of my morning coffee from my Huzzah mug. I'm getting so dry. And then we can get started. I also have lots and lots of ornaments that I have stitched for my kids over the years. From the year they were born until present. My children are now 29 and 31. Grown adults, not really children. But anyway, they're my children, will always be my children. I have ornaments that I have stitched for them over the years. Again, there's a few years that I just didn't get it together. But I will try to remedy them at some point to make one in honor of that year. But it was too much to show that. So I think I'll save that and share that with you next year because it would take a lot for me to show the ornaments that I have stitched for them. So anyway, moving right along with my stitch parade of my Christmas stitching. Okay. So I know this was the first Christmas cross stitch that I have done. This is stitched on Fiddlers Cloth, 14 count Fiddlers Cloth. And this was a kit, 1985. Oh my goodness, that's a long time ago. Anyway, I was new to counted cross stitch at that time, just a little life, just a little significance of where I was in life at that time. I had been graduated from college for 3 years. Cross stitch was kind of starting to boom at that time. And I had purchased this kit, and here I was trying to be all creative. It came on white Aida, and I thought, I just want to give that more of an older kind of country look. So I remember asking at the shop, it was just like a regular craft and knitting shop, and I had asked them where they thought that I could buy some more of this fabric, but maybe in a different color. And I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and they told me to go to the Strawberry Sampler in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, and I could be sure to find some fabric there. Well, they told me it was about a half hour away, and I thought, a half hour? That's a long way to drive to get this. I think I just won't do that right now. But boy, how things have changed. I'll drive for days to get to a cross-stitch shop now. But anyway, I did go down to the Strawberry Sampler that day, and I was totally overwhelmed because I had never been in a shop that was totally just dedicated to cross-stitch. It was really way overwhelming for the time I had available that day. But I was able to pick up this piece of Fiddler's Cloth, and I started this around Christmas. I like to stitch with the season, not necessarily for the season. And I know that I started stitching this on Christmas that year. But look at this. You'll get a chuckle out of this. Look at this frame job. I definitely need to give this piece a little bit more love and have it in a frame a little bit better. But this has been one of my Christmas treasures for years. And it really started my, oh my gosh, it just enhanced my love of stitching by going to the Strawberry Sampler that day and buying the Fiddler's Cloth that I was trying to be so creative with. Okay, so let me put that down before it falls out of the frame. So I remember that day at the Strawberry Sampler, I saw this kit, and I remember at the time it was $20, which I thought was exorbitant, but I purchased it anyway. This is one of my favorite verses that depicts the holiday season, and this is what Linus recites in Charlie Brown Christmas. So it says, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." So I did stitch this too. This has some blended threads. This was way before overdye threads came out. So it's stitched with 2 strands, and honestly, it might be 3 strands, but there is color blending where you took 1 strand of one color and then 1 or 2 of another color and stitched at the same time with it. So this has been in my needlework collection for quite a long time. And again, I don't know who the designer was with this. I know they did a lot of things that only came as kits. Okay. Here we have, remember he was called Christmas Patches, and I stitched this in 1993. So at that time, my daughter was just under a year old, and we were supposed to go to Vermont for Christmas. We lived in Pennsylvania at the time, and when we started out to drive to Vermont, it was as an ice storm was starting, and we drove for about 4 hours and only went a few miles, and we just said forget it, and we drove home and never got to Vermont because the storm only got worse. But I remember I stitched this that week that we were home, just my husband and I and our baby, and I stitched Christmas Patches. This was really fun to stitch because each little patch on his cloak was kind of like a project in itself, and it was really fun to do. I remember in the ice, we finally slid home to close to our neighborhood. We were kind of at the top of the neighborhood, and the roads, we had to kind of go down a hill to get to our driveway, which just was impassable at the time. And we were wondering, we were worried about walking, holding our baby. So my husband and I, we laid a blanket out on the ground. One of us hunkered down and was able to get over to a grassy spot at the edge of our neighborhood that was easy to walk. And we laid the baby on the blanket and pushed the blanket across the ice. And then my husband caught the blanket and her, thankfully. And then I hunkered down and walked across and got to the grass. And then we just picked our car up from the edge of the neighborhood later on when we could. But, you know, that's what's fun about having all these Christmas stitched pieces. When you look at each one, it just brings back memories of the time that you stitched it and all that was surrounding your stitches at the time. And it's not only for our Christmas stitches, it's for like really all of our stitches. So next I would like to show you my shepherd's bush stockings that I stitched for my family. This one was for my son Ryan. I stitched this in 2000 for him. He was born in 1994. But I got around to stitching the stockings in 2000. I'm seeing that this ribbon is a little bit tired. I do need to replace it, but part of me just wants to leave it the way it is. So I haven't really decided. I did my own finishing on the shepherd's bush stockings. They're backed in a velvet, a cotton velvet. They're lined with a dark blue broadcloth. And I give my shepherd's bush stockings a little bit more of a toe than theirs seem to have on their pattern. So I don't know which stocking this is anymore. I mean, I stitched it 23 years ago, but this is what I did for my son Ryan. This is one I did for my daughter Erin. Again, I don't remember the names. I stitched this one for me. I know this was called Sophie's stocking. And again, I've rounded the toe a little bit more than they tend to be. And then this is one I did for my husband. And again, I don't really know which one it was. I love pulling these out every year, and they can hold quite a bit of goodies. I made my own cording to go around the outside with pearl cotton. You know, what would you do with these bows? It is wired ribbon. I can fluff them a little bit. I really don't know whether to change it or to leave it. These stockings have been around for a long time, and like I just don't know. So any tips or suggestions, I'd love to hear it from you. Okay, here's another piece that I stitched, moving right along. This is, I stitched this in 1990. I had just been married about, oh, not that long. By that time, I got married in 1990. And this was called Father Christmas. I love the little greenery. This part down in the bottom, I think it was stitched on Joblin. And he's really kind of an elegant guy. All right. Moving right along. Oh, this was a Cricut collection. I did this into a pillow. It says, "And to all a good night." And then there was, I think it was on the same pattern, I don't know. There was a blanket, an Afghan to stitch. Let me see if I can show this to you. Ooh. He's skating. All these snowflakes around the outside. And then this is what I backed this quilt in. Kind of goes perfectly with the Santa. Kind of hard to see, and I do apologize for that. But interesting thing about this one, I entered him, when did I stitch him? It says it on here somewhere. I stitched him, didn't I put the date on him? Anyway, I stitched him a long time ago, probably around 1990, and I entered it into an Afghan contest at the Iowa State Fair. I had to mail it. It was offered by Hirschner's Needlework, was the sponsor of this, and I entered my Santa into that contest, and I won. And then I was featured as a little article about me in the Hirschner's magazine that they had at the time, and they wanted a picture of me. I should have pulled that for this video, but I know I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and so there's a picture of me with a big pregnant belly, and I had to give a little article about myself and my needlework, and you know, how I learned how to stitch and who was my motivation for stitching and all that kind of thing. So anyway, that was really fun. I won a ribbon. I think I won a gift certificate to the Hirschner's catalog, and I won a plaque from the Iowa State Fair. And I was really quite relieved when my piece made it back home to me. I was very nervous about sending it off to the fair. I lived in Pennsylvania then, and so it was really fun, but I was quite surprised when I found out that I won a prize. I won their contest. Okay, moving right along. I think this video is getting kind of long, but that's okay. I've got lots to show. So here's a few stand-ups. This is a You and I and Friends Santa. I think this was a limited edition Santa. Here's the back on him. Really fun to stitch. There's You and I and Friends. And then here's another You and I piece. And this was another limited edition. Again, I did all of my own finishing on this, on these pieces. So that's that. Here's another little snowman. This was a freebie chart, and I made some cording with some little, looks like candy cane, and then there's like a little snow frost. But this was another little stand-up. Let's see. Here is Noel from Running with Needles and Scissors. Sylvia sells the Noel chart, and then she also includes in the chart a V so that you can do love. So this Noel, this is really fun to do, and it's really a great way to decorate, and you can just change out your little buttons. It's all backed on those, you know, the little preform buttons that you can cover. Really easy to do. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Now they all fell. Okay, Here is a Foxwood Crossings Santa that I stitched on a big sled. I did this in 2021. What I do when I do these perforated paper pieces, I like to personalize, be able to personalize it, and I stitch on another piece of perforated paper and put it on the bottom. So this I did in 2021. Okay, here is my red and green carnation sampler. This is from Samplers Remembered. This was from the Country Sampler, their sampler club that they have. Ray Niles changed the words on this, or changed this a little bit, and I asked her if she minded if I did the same, and she certainly did not. So it's now kind of a Christmas piece, because on it, it says, "It's a Wonderful Life." Left out one of the alphabets and charted out "It's a Wonderful Life." I'm sorry for the glare here, but I just really can't be helped. And so that's from Samplers Remembered. And then with that kit was a companion piece to make this little needle roll. And this turned out, I was very pleased with this. I love how the ruching is on the ends of the needle roll. So there we go. These all came on the same chart. Okay. Now I have, this will be fun to talk about. This is Christmas Garden from Blackbird Designs. Okay, a couple things about this chart. I did change the colors. I think there's only like 4 or 5 colors in this. I did change the colors. I kind of forget what they were. I did stitch it on Lakeside Linen's Buttercream. And I wanted to leave off the words of Christmas Garden. So what I did was I just moved the border up. I made photocopies of the chart and then just kind of folded it over and adjusted it to move up the bottom border. And I was worried that it might be kind of wonky, but it wasn't. So down here, this is different. This corner is different than the other corners. And I thought that that might just be because I was trying to change it, but it wasn't, because here's that chart. And you can see when they pictured it, they took a picture of it and put some greenery in front of that wonky little corner. So actually, by eliminating the words and just moving up the border, it really fit perfectly with the way the sampler is. So another design that I have done from this book, I think this might have been reprinted also, or printed in another publication from Blackbird Designs. But another thing that I did from this book, okay, so here's Christmas Garden with the words, in case you're not familiar with the chart. And then I just moved up that border. And I leave it out all year round. And I love it because it doesn't really scream Christmas. But it's a Christmas piece. Oh, and I see that here I wrote what my color changes were. So I can put those in my show notes about my changes for the colors involved. And there's only 4 colors. So I will put that in the show notes of my changes to Christmas Garden. The other thing I stitched from this book that honestly, I don't know that I have ever seen another one of it completed. I stitched the Naughty or Nice. And this finishes into a little bag. Here it is, a little stitching bag. Let me see if there's a better picture of it. Sort of. Oh, here you go. Right there. It finishes into a little stitching bag. And I've actually stitched this twice. The finishing directions, it's only about 7 inches, 6 or 7 inches. I lined it with striped fabric. The finishing directions that are in the book were perfect for this. But this is so cute. There's all little buttons stitched around the edge, just like they suggested in the book. And then This was stitched in 2012. Oh my gosh, that's 11 years ago already. Where has the time gone? But I stitched this twice. I stitched it once for myself and once for a friend. But then what Barb and Alma always told you to do was to use, don't just use it for the stitching, use it in a different way. Make photocopies of what you stitch that you can then make other things. So here, before I finish that into the little bag, my husband printed it out on canvas for me. We photocopied it and he printed it out on canvas, which I framed then. And honestly, you have to get right up on it to even tell that it's not a stitched piece. I have this hanging on my sampler wall behind me normally. So it was just another way to use that same design. All right, so that's Christmas Garden. Then, talking about using things in another way, this is Santa's Fill. It was a Shepherd's Bush shop exclusive. As far as I know, these little kits are still available. They come with the fabric, the threads, the embellishments, and the mat. And then Jill Rensel, who has a framing shop very close to Shepherd's Bush, and she does their framing, has frames available for all of their shop exclusives. So this was Santa's Fill. And then I stitched it in another way, stitched it again, and made this little bag. And this little elf in there, I think, goes perfectly, has the whole flavor of the Shepherd's Bush designs and just their kind of whimsical feel. And so this hangs on my door, my back of my front door at Christmas time every year. And this was just, this is a piece of rope underneath here, and I just made this little cover for it, just a tube, and made it longer than was necessary, so it crunches up and makes a nice little bunched kind of cord on, hold a hanger on that. Oh boy, this is starting to be a real mess here. Okay, another piece I have, another Blackbird design, is Raise a Glass of Cheer to the beginning of a new year. And this was a lot of fun to stitch. There's really more colors involved in here than meets the eye. It looks like it's not too colorful, but there was a few colors. And I like to put this out through January, end of December through January in my home. And this is another one that I haven't really seen stitched very often from people, but I absolutely love it. Okay, a couple more framed pieces and then some smalls, and then we're done. I can send you on your way to do your baking, your cooking, your shopping, whatever. This is a Shepherd's Bush piece. This is Emmanuel's Song. I stitched this piece in 2005 in honor of my dad. This has the words on it, O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to you, O Israel. My dad, this reminded me of my dad because as a child growing up, we would light the Advent wreath, the Advent candles, and he would always sing in his very low but loud singing voice. He would always sing, O come, Emmanuel. And this just reminded me of my dad, and it was a big part of our Christmas Advent season. So these kits from Shepherd's Bush come complete with all the threads, again, embellishments, linen, perfect directions for the specialty stitches. And this frame was from Jill Rensel also. And this is called Emmanuel's Song. I do remember the names of more of these than I had thought. Okay, I did show this one on another floss tube, but it bears showing again. This is a Barbara Anna design. This is called, I think, Santa's Trips. And this was a stitch along a couple years ago. The colors seemed very, very bright. It was stitched with DMC. The colors seemed very, very bright. but they really worked quite well on the linen. I don't remember what linen I stitched this on, but super fun to stitch. And it's just precious. The berries on the border, I just love them. And this was also framed by Jill Rensel. And with this frame, I love how they added little pops of red. Here, let's see if you can see it. Little pops of red on the frame to kind of mimic the berries that are in the border. So this was Santa's Travels, I believe it's called, from Barbara Anna Designs. Okay, and here's my big girl stitched. This is from Plum Street Samplers, and this is a Yuletide Welcome. I actually took this class when she taught this as a class at Shepherd's Bush a number of years ago. That's when she premiered this design, and I totally loved stitching this. She's come out with other welcomes. She has a Halloween one. She has a patriotic welcome, and honestly, I'd love to stitch all of them. Don't we all? We want to stitch it all. My desire is far, far greater than my time, but I do the best I can. So anyway, but this is a Yuletide Welcome. Again, this was framed by Jill Rensel Studios, and it hangs in my powder room throughout the season, and that's why I want to stitch the Yuletide Welcome and the Patriotic Welcome also to take up that same spot at different times of the year. One thing, I will zoom in on the roof. Okay, I don't know if you can tell, but the roof sort of looks like individual shingles. And what I did to achieve that is I manipulated the over-dyed cotton. So I made the shingles, sort of divide the stitches into, I think, 7, 5, 3, and 1 to make like a triangle. And I went ahead and stitched the roof in little sections like that, and then kept filling in little sections like that that kind of mimicked shingles. And so then the natural variation of the thread, it was darker on some shingles, lighter on other shingles. So it kind of gave it the appearance that it was a shingled roof, or that I used multiple colors, but I didn't. I just used the one called for over-dyed cotton that was called for in the chart. Let me show that to you again and see if you can sort of get a feel for how that looks. It just gives that roof some texture rather than just being lines of color. So there you have that. So there's my stitched pieces for Christmas. Oh, wait, here's one tiny little baby that's left. This again, oh, I don't like this glare, but it's coming off my Christmas tree. And okay, so this is Oh Merry Day, and this is a exclusive from Shepherd's Bush also. It's super tiny, but the little mats that come with it, it's a triple mat and painted. Again, this comes with the kit, and it just makes this tiny little piece look important. Love it. So that goes on a little easel in my house. So I have a few more things to show you that are little stitched pieces that I keep, that I decorate in my home with around the holiday. All the putting away after the holiday takes a long time, but it's worth it. So this was the cookie exchange that Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design did a few years back. It was like an online thing that you prepared for, and over a few days she gave you all the pieces of the chart, and it was mounted on a board from April Whitaker, and all these things we could pre-order. But I did find, I had in my stash these cute little gingerbread sort of package tags. You were supposed to write the recipient and who it was from on the tag with a marker. But I had collected some of these over the years. You know, you pick up these things sometimes on clearance, having no idea what you're going to do with them. And it's just perfect on the handle of this. So this was the cookie exchange from Hands On Design. Again, all these things that we do as community of stitchers that really makes our holiday celebrations that much more fun. Okay, here's 2 Oldies But Goodies. This is a stand-up. This is from Lizzie Kate Designs, one of her stand-up figures. This was the Santa. He's holding a little sampler, little Noel piece done on banding. I backed him with that. I took a class one time on finishing stand-ups from Marsha Brown. She used to have a company called The Binding Stitch. I don't know whether she still does or not, but she's from Massachusetts. Don't even know if she still lives in Massachusetts. But she always said, put the feet close to the bottom so it doesn't look like it's floating. A lot of these stand-up figures, you see the same amount of fabric around on the bottom as on the edges, and it looks like they're floating. But she suggested leaving some fabric, but grounding them a little bit more. And so this was fun to do. This little stand-up guy, I did a 3-color twist cord on the side. And so there we have it. That was a Lizzie Kate. This was a Sisters and Best Friends from years ago, one of their snowmen. And you would buy the little socks. I have a few more of these, but no little socks. And I would love to get another pair of these socks or so. I just don't know where to find them. If anybody knows where to find these tiny little socks, I would love to stitch more of these that I have. But alas, no socks for the jolly snowman here. So he sits on a shelf in my powder room throughout the winter as well. Okay, couple more little goodies here. This was a Threadwork Primitives pin disc. I don't remember the name of it. Holly and something. But I just found this little board at a women's club sale for $1. This little bowl, not board. And I just made a little sewing set with it. So, and again, the finishing directions that you get with the Threadwork Primitive pin discs are terrific. I backed it with a muted flannel. Super fun. So I've got a little sewing caddy here. Love and Joy Come to You. This is from Heartstring Samplery. I think it was a download only when I purchased this, but I've actually stitched this twice now. I stitched it again this year and mounted it on a book, a vintage book of A Christmas Carol, and gave it as an exchange gift for a stitching exchange that I was in, and they loved it. It fit the top of that vintage book of A Christmas Carol really nice, and the book cover made a nice surface for mounting needlework. This little crystal heart that I put on here is something I found amongst my mom's things when she passed, and I just attached it to the Love and Joy Come to You, and that's something that I always try to remember. This is from Lottie Da, and this is And Rudolph. This is just a little pillow that I adorned with some rusted bells and stars that I bought from the Nebby Needle. And I have it stuffed with lizard litter, backed with a star fabric. And this certainly doesn't scream Christmas colors, but it is a really nice Christmas piece to have, which I love this. I've stitched this a couple times too and gifted it at times. Oops, this is falling apart on me here. Well, my pins are coming out. Here's another piece from Threadwork Primitives, and this is called Wintertime. Again, I stuffed this with lizard litter, backed it with flannel, and I made a little vignette or little tray out of it. And actually, This was an ornament, a sled ornament I got at Michael's last year, and I stuffed it and made a pin cushion, and then I made some little counting pins that I put in it. I just had this little candy cane. But check out the tray. The tray that it is in really did not start out as a tray. It was a picture frame that I took the glass out of. And then on the backing board that was there, maybe I cut another piece of mat board, but I attached the fabric to it, and then put that in the tray instead of the glass, in the frame instead of the glass. And then here it makes a nice little tray to display, and the colors match perfectly with the backing of my little pillow. And I did make one of these as a gift last year also. So this sits out throughout the winter, my little wintertime tray. So there's all kinds of things you can do to repurpose items that aren't necessarily for the purpose, intended for the purpose of what you're using for. But always keep an eye out, and you can always find a way to maybe use something in a different way. That's what I love, 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 love doing. Okay, just a couple more pieces here, and then I will send you on your way. This is from Scarlett House, Ho, Ho, Ho. I believe I showed this before, but it's a sweet little pillow. I'll tell you, there was a lot of stitching in this. I thought it would be a quick stitch. Oh no, but it was totally worth it. Such a fun little piece to display at Christmas time. And then I also have another little set of things here from Shepherd's Bush. This was their winter trifles. Here, I'll show them. Here's a snowflake, little pillow. Here's, this says snow globe. And we shall have snow. I live in Virginia, and we don't often get snow, but I love every flake that falls. I do love snow. A lot of people around here don't, and that's why they live here. But I do love snow, and I'm hoping for some snow this... Whoa. Oh, well. I guess it's time to finish up. Oh, where'd that go? Anyway, I do hope we get some snow this winter. So, Floss Tube friends, that is what I have to share with you today. It did go longer than I thought, but, you know, when you're a stitcher and you have lots of things to share, stitchers need to share. So I'm wishing all of you the blessings of the holiday. Enjoy the time that you have with family and friends. If that's the way you're celebrating, celebrate in the way that works for you. And just enjoy the time you have. Try to remember the reason for the season, and don't get wrapped up in all the wrappings and commercialism that is out there for us. Just enjoy you, enjoy your family, and have a wonderful time. And until the next time, really, may you find calm, joy, and relaxation in your stitches. Thanks for joining me today, and wishing all of you a very, very Merry Christmas. And thank you for such a welcome into the Floss Tube community this year. It is so appreciated, and I look forward to seeing what next year brings for me and for you. Have a wonderful holiday, everybody. Love ya.